Part 31. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 301. Is this guy the one who assassinated him? Xiaoping's spirit was shaken, and he immediately squatted down and looked at the man who was thrown to the ground like a dead dog. The man looked to be in his 40s, his eyes were closed, his face was thin, his cheekbones were prominent, the skin on his face was rough and dark, and his hooked nose looked particularly sinister. What impressed people was that the man had the two thick black spiral-shaped eyebrows were slightly red, looking murderous. Yes, that's the guy. This guy is also bold and decisive. The guy failed to assassinate him the night before yesterday. He didn't even wait for a day. Knowing that he was in the inspection office, he came to the inspection office to assassinate him again. But he didn't expect that there was no sound around him. Wuxi had an extra gold medal bodyguard from the Seven Sun realm, causing him to hit the iron plate. Ha ha ha. Xiaoping laughed and stood up. I really saw the right person. You are really awesome, Xuanhuan. It would not be so easy for me to take down a master of the Six Yang realm in normal times, but last night the sky was in my favor and he was unlucky, so I took him down, Tai Mian said calmly. How is this person doing now? Is he okay? It's okay, he was just knocked unconscious by me and suffered some physical pain. I have sealed his secret mandala with the magic needle, and he can't use his divine power now. This guy almost killed me. I didn't expect today to happen. Haha, I'm sorry, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about this guy on the ground. Xiaoping looked at the man on the ground, moved his hand, and directly he took out a gold ticket worth 20,000 gold coins and handed it to Tai Mian. It's for you. Tai Mian looked at the golden ticket in Xiaoping's hand, but did not take it. He just moved his eyes and asked calmly, what does this mean? It's not interesting, it's just for you. I know you are also short of money. At your level of cultivation, you now have to spend a lot of money to buy world beads, elixirs, spiritual crystals, and various cultivation resources. Those of your friends I want to support you. Your confidant needs to be a courtesan or a beauty pageant. You need to be free. There is no need for money. If you were not short of money, you would not owe the Huang family favors before. You are my bodyguard and it is not in vain. You can solve it for me. If you are in big trouble, you will naturally get the reward you deserve. If you have been with me for a long time, you will know that being my bodyguard is actually not that difficult to accept. Listening to Xiaoping's words, the man in the iron mask felt a little tempted to cry. Yes, the man in the iron mask is short of money, so what about the summoners of the Seven Suns realm? Without money, it is difficult to move in the capital city. When others sell world beads and elixirs to you, it will not be because you are in the Seven Suns realm. A strong person can save you a few copper coins or charge you no money. On the contrary, if they know that you are a summoner in the Seven Suns realm, others will increase the price even more. Your friends know your strength and always think that you are never short of money, so they always ask you to borrow money. If you tell them that you are poor, no one will believe you. If you tell them too much, they will think that you are hypocritical. Your relatives know your strength and think that you are rich and courageous in doing business. If you accidentally lose money, you will only look to yourself when you need to fill the hole. But the conscience of heaven and earth, crouching tiger, hidden dragon in the upper capital, is not easy even for summoners in the Seven Suns realm. Especially if you have worked your way up to this position on your own, it is even more difficult. In this world, there is no easy money except what your parents give you. In fact, the man in the iron mask doesn't make much money, but he spends too much money, so he is a real poor person. After taking a deep look at Xiaoping, the iron-faced man looked at the 20,000 gold coin ticket in Xiaoping's hand. He didn't want to be polite to Xiaoping anymore. He directly took the gold ticket and put it away, hesitating a little. After a while, he said two words dully, Thank you. 20,000 gold coins is no longer a small amount and can solve many problems. Xiaopingan smiled and said nothing more. He looked at the man in black on the ground, and an idea suddenly came to his mind. Then, under the gaze of the man in the iron mask, Xiaopingan moved his hand and summoned a jade pen. Xiaopingan took the jade pen and kicked the guy on the ground with his feet, turning him over and facing the sky. Then he activated his divine power, and the jade pen suddenly shone brightly, emitting a golden brilliance. Xiaopingan then wrote the word pig directly on the forehead of the man in black. The golden word pig disappeared into the forehead of the man in black, and then the body of the man in black began to twist and change. In less than 10 seconds, the black man turned into a pig one by one. The little black pig, which is more than a foot long, is lying on the ground among a pile of clothes. It's just that the little black pig has a long and narrow face, a high turned nose, and a pair of particularly thick hair on its eyes, which are slightly red. If you look carefully, you can see that the pig's appearance is somewhat similar to that of the man in black. Transformation. The man in the iron mask was also shocked. Xiaopingan's move just now also shocked him. He directly turned a living person into a pig. This was the first time he had seen this secret method. It's not the form-shaping technique. Xiaopingan shook his head and smiled, it's the form-sealing technique. The form-shaping technique is to change one's own appearance. This form-sealing technique is for me to change his appearance. By the way, your imprisoning needle, it can be taken out. Now this little pig can't escape from my hand. The man in the iron mask took a deep breath, pointed at the little black pig on the ground, and a golden light flew out of the black pig's body. After wrapping around his finger twice, he took it into his own. Within the space equipment. As the imprisoning needle was withdrawn, the little black pig on the ground also woke up and staggered up. When the assassin woke up, he probably didn't realize that he was no longer a human but a pig. He only saw it struggling to raise its head. After seeing clearly the tall figures of Xiaopingan and the iron-masked man standing there, he had wanted to stand up on its two hind legs, but fell to the ground all of a sudden. Unable to stand firm, it raised its hand and saw a dark pig's trotter. At this moment, the man in the iron mask could even see the shocked look in the pig's eyes. Yes, a pig looking at its own trotters with a shocked face. Then, the little black pig let out a scream, staggered back, and fell to the ground again because of his uncoordinated steps. Then, the little black pig screamed and ran around in Xiaopingan's office, running up and down the bright wooden floor, trying to get into the ground. In Xiaopingan's office, for a moment, all he could hear was a pig screaming and running around, and Xiaopingan's malicious laughter. "Stop running, you are not dreaming. There is a mirror over there. You can run to the mirror and have a look," Xiaopingan said quietly. The pig heard Xiaopingan's words, and finally ran to the mirror in the office and saw himself in the mirror. It was really a pig. Then, the next second, the pig's eyes went straight, its body stiffened, its limbs became stiff, and it fainted again. "I really can't accept this blow. Haha, I didn't expect this killer's psychological quality to be so fragile." Xiaopingan shook his head. Wei Miu came to work very early today, and when Wei Miu came to work, she found that there was an iron-faced man outside Xiaopingan's office, and there was also an additional pig in the office, an irritable and desperate one. Pig. Yes, Wei Miu found that when she saw the pig, she could actually feel the emotions on the pig's face. Xiaopingan found a dog chain from the warehouse of the inspectorate and tied up the pig. Not long after, the summoners from the inspectorate arrived one after another, and everyone discovered that there was an extra man wearing an iron mask and an extra pig in Xiaopingan's office. The office building of the inspection office is very large. Xiaopingan asked people to clear out a room outside his office, next to the secretary's room, as a place for Shaman to rest. If he was usually in the office, Shaman would be there. "Stay in your room. Xiaopingyan directly introduced Tai Mian to everyone, saying that Tai Mian was his new bodyguard. As for the pig, Xiaopingyan also introduced it to everyone and told everyone about his new pet. The pig was very irritable, rushing around Xiaopingyan's office and not being well behaved. Then Xiaopingyan called Luo Laojiu to the office, handed the chain with the pig to Luo Laojiu, and asked Luo Laojiu to take the pig away. He went down to the yard and used his dog to teach the pig the rules. Luo Laojiu complied. A few minutes later, Xiaopingyan was drinking tea and stood at the window. In the yard below the inspectorate, he saw the dog raised by Luo Laojiu chasing the little black pig all over the yard. The pig was tied to the railing in the yard and kept screaming as he was chased and bitten by dogs. Xiaopingyan in the office laughed like a pig. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 302. Just as Xiaopingyan was happily enjoying the show of dogs biting pigs in the yard, a black carriage stopped at the gate of the Donggang Inspectorate. Li Chaoming, who was wearing casual clothes, got out of the car. Entering the gate of the inspectorate, when he looked up, he saw Xiaopingyan, who was holding a teacup from the office window and looking towards the yard below. Li Chaoming quickly showed a smile, raised his hat, and after identifying himself with Luo Laojiu, he walked directly towards the building of the inspectorate. A little black pig tied by a chain was chased by a dog and ran in front of Li Chaoming. He almost stepped on Li Chaoming's leather shoes and soiled his leather shoes. Li Chaoming frowned and muttered, "Where did the pig come from?" Then he kicked the little black pig aside, and then walked up the stairs of the inspectorate building with his head held high. Soon, Li Chaoming saw Xiaopingyan again in Xiaopingyan's office. "Ha ha ha, Director Li is a rare visitor. Come on, please sit down, please sit down." Xiaopingyan smiled and asked Li Chaoming to sit down. "Do you want some tea, Director Li?" "You're welcome, Mr. Xia." "You're welcome. I'll just sit down and leave." "There's no need to pour tea." Li Chaoming smiled and sat down with his lower buttocks next to the chair. Then he looked back furtively to see if there was a door to the office. "Close it," as if afraid of being heard. "What, is there something wrong with Director Li?" Xiaopingyan asked. "Master Xia, I have already done what you told me last time," Li Chaoming said directly. "Oh, Yao, what's going on?" Xiaopingyan's eyebrows moved. Li Chaoming nodded, with a hint of complacency on his face, and lowered his voice a little. "Sir, Yao Yushang got into trouble last night. He was caught and raped in bed. He was crippled, and finally he was knocked unconscious naked. I put it in a sack and threw it at the gate of the Pingshan camp of the Judicial Army. I asked for an explanation. The news I just heard is that the Judicial Army has removed Yao Yushang Jiniang from his position as inspector and imprisoned Yao Yushang. Get up, even if Yao Yushang can come out this time, it's over." Xiaopingyan was in a good mood after hearing the news. Except for the Huang family, all the other responsibilities of the Huang family have been settled. Besides, there is also a gold medal fighter in the Seven Suns realm beside him. With this, he will be able to go to the capital in the future. The situation has opened up and Xiaopingyan has gained a firm foothold. Xiaopingyan doesn't believe that anyone else dares to come and cause trouble for him. "Okay, Director Li, thank you for your hard work. Director Li's brother-in-law has performed well in prison during this period. His sentence will be reduced by 2 months and he can be released next month. I will send someone to say hello to the port. From now on, Jinming, the goods from the trading house are exempt from inspection and are shipped out first. If you have a lot of goods here, you can also supply some to the restaurants in Donggang district and compare the prices of goods from other trading houses." Li Chaoming was overjoyed and his eyebrows almost jumped up. It was a trivial matter for his brother-in-law to stay in prison for 2 or 3 months, but now that Xiaopingyan has spoken, his family's Jinming Trading Company's treatment in Donggang district will be improved by 1. Xiaopingyan said, "Jinming Trading Company's financial resources could double, which surprised him. "Thank you for taking care of me, sir, thank you for taking care of me. That's right. I have a clear sense of grudges and revenge, but I will never let the people who do things for me suffer. Director Li will know this in the future." Xiaopinggan did not fool Li Chaoming. After talking to Li Chaoming, he pulled the rope bell twice. Wei Miu opened the door and came in and asked Xiaopinggan if she needed anything. Xiaopinggan directly asked Wei Miu to find Sidu Hua, and then in front of Li Chaoming, in front of Chaoming, he explained the treatment he just mentioned for Jinming Trading Company and asked Sidu Hua to go to the port terminal and Donggang area to implement the matter. Li Chaoming left Xiaopinggan's office with a happy face and walked downstairs. He saw the little black pig being tied up and running around. The screams were too unpleasant and harsh. Li Chaoming kicked the little black pig again. The black pig kicked the little black pig until it screamed and rolled away. Then he straightened his clothes and left the inspection office. Compared to that bastard Yao Yushang, Li Chaoming felt that it was more reassuring to deal with Xiaopinggan. Not long after Li Chaoming left, a green bird flew like lightning to the information mailing room of the Donggang inspection office. Soon, on Xiaopinggan's desk, there was a message that the adjudication army killed at the Bailongdong water plant last night. Received news from the poison demon. Although the god of fortune boy is no longer staring at the poison demon, it is expected that the poison demon will be finished. Now there are only 3 of the 5 demons left, and only 2 are still hiding. Dark Demon is more cautious in his actions. He hid after the incident last night and is now hiding in a small hotel on the outskirts of Shangjing City. He is like a frightened bird, not even daring to go back home. He is watching the news. Although it only lasted one night, the changes in the situation in the capital made Xiaopinggan feel that he had overcome the most difficult level and could temporarily breathe a sigh of relief. Xiaopinggan breathed a sigh of relief, but Black Dragon's reputation suddenly spread in Shangjing City. When each district inspection office encounters a difficult case, they will come to the Donggang Inspectorate office to ask Xiaopinggan to borrow the Black Dragon to solve the case. Ordinary QJ cases, thefts and murders can almost be solved as soon as the Black Dragon arrives, and the murderer can be quickly identified. On the second day after Li Chaoming came to find Xiaopinggan, the Black Dragon was loaned out 5 times, creating set a record of solving 5 consecutive cases in Beijing in one day. Suddenly, the name of the divine dog Black Dragon spread throughout the capital, and even Xiaopinggan's reputation also spread throughout the capital. 3 days later, in the afternoon, we went to the square outside the Imperial Palace in Beijing. Today's Shangjing City is sunny and sunny. Starting from noon, many important figures in the Imperial City, including the Crown Prince Baitang Wangchuan, Lin Yi, many important officials of the Dark War God cult in Shangjing City, the Councillor Bishop, and some members of the royal family gathered in the square outside the palace, waiting quietly. The square was covered with a red carpet. Baitang Wangchuan stood in the most prominent position among the crowd, with Ji Yi standing next to him. Is there no news about the other 3 demons among the 5 demons? Baitang Wangchuan looked at the blue sky, turned his face slightly, and talked quietly with Ji Yi. The 2 people were talking in a secret way, so others could not hear their words at all. We are still investigating. We can roughly confirm that the Dark Demon and the Corpse Demon are in Shangjing City, but the Dream Demon is the most mysterious and has no information at all. Can't you find the Dream Demon in divination? Can't find it? They all carry anti-divination weapons, so the Dark Demon and the Corpse Demon can only determine the approximate range through divination, while the Dream Demon is completely unable to divine. There's no news from the Shadow Guard either. Ji Yi knew that when Baitang Wangchuan asked the Shadow Guard, he was actually asking for news from Xiaopinggan. No news yet from the Shadow Guard. Baitang Wangchuan said softly, I heard that Xiaopinggan was assassinated at Tianyuan Bridge 2 days ago. How is he these 2 days? Xiaopinggan has been fine these past 2 days. Apart from keeping a low profile in his travels, Nothing unusual has been seen. The Judgment Army has already arranged manpower to investigate the case. Your Highness actually does not need to worry about Xiaopinggan. He is Xiaopinggan's enemy. After these 2 days, it's not going well. Oh, what's the matter? Baitang Wangchuan also looked interested. Jinyang's supervisor Yao Yushang was caught committing adultery with the family members of an Imperial City Guard officer. Yao Yushang was seriously injured and sent to Pingshan camp. I have arranged an interrogation and will deal with it according to the law. What did Xiaopinggan do? Baitang Wangchuan asked in surprise. There is no evidence that he did it. The person who did it is from the police system of Jinyang district. He had a slight feud with Yao Yushang before, and there is no trace of being arranged. Although Lin Yi is the commander-in-chief of the Judgment Army, he does not shy away from Yao Chang's affairs, let alone defend his shortcomings. Such a black sheep is simply a shame to the Judgment Army. It would be better to get rid of the Judgment Army as soon as possible, and when I said this in front of Baitang Wangchuan, I actually wanted to remind Baitang Wangchuan that Xiaopinggan was not as simple and easy to control as he thought. Xiaopinggan's influence in Shangjing City expanded too fast. People are not so easy to control. These days, all those who offended Xiaopinggan, from the garrison to Yao Yushang, were all unlucky. This was no coincidence. Lin Yi took a fancy to Xiaopinggan's ability, but he also felt a little wary. Xiaopinggan was trying to deal with Yao Yushang, so he did not get angry with him. Although there was no evidence that Xiaopinggan was involved in this matter, the timing of Yao Yushang's incident was too coincidental. If it had not been exposed earlier, it would have been later. But not long after Yao Yushang offended Xiaopinggan, Yao Yushang was caught and raped. To say that this is a complete coincidence would be an insult to Lin Yi's IQ. Baitang Wangchuan also heard the hidden meaning of Ji Yi's words. He smiled slightly and said, if he is really the kind of person who doesn't hit back and scolds, it would be meaningless. This is actually quite good. And one more thing. What's up? Does your Highness feel that Xiaopinggan's strength has grown too fast? If you have money, it is easy to obtain cultivation resources in Shangjing City, including the 5 Yang realm and the 6 Yang realm, Baitang Wangchuan said nonchalantly. Hearing what Baitang Wangchuan said, Ji Yi stopped saying anything. In fact, Ji Yi recently investigated the flow of most of the spiritual crystals collected by the Judgment Army in Shangjing City, and found one thing. Those spiritual crystals that actually flowed into Xiaopinggan's hands through open channels were very rare, almost none. On the one hand, there is no spiritual crystal to cooperate, and on the other hand, the strength is increasing rapidly. This situation can only make Lin Yi think that Xiaopinggan has other unknown sources of spiritual crystals, and this source must be very reliable and powerful. Enough only with secrecy can a summoner from the 1 Yang realm be pushed to the 4 Yang realm in such a short period of time. There are only a handful of organizations and institutions with this kind of strength in the entire Jinyu continent. Are there really mysterious people and mysterious organizations providing information to Xiaopinggan? Ji Yi began to become suspicious. Before, he thought that Xiaopinggan accidentally fused with Jian Huantong's world pearl so that he could get some information. But now it seems that what Xiaopinggan showed was somewhat beyond their expectations. There are a lot of things involved behind this. Without evidence, Ji Yi would not mention it rashly in front of Baitang Wangchuan. He just clicked on it, and he just wanted Baitang Wangchuan to be mentally prepared. But just after testing it out, Ji Yi discovered that His Royal Highness the Crown Prince seemed to have his own plans in mind and was deliberately downplaying some things, which forced Ji Yi to suppress some of his thoughts. Perhaps, for His Highness, there is only one person who poses a threat to him in the capital. In addition, as long as it is useful to His Highness, he will take it first, at least to ensure that it will not fall into the hands of another person, so he does not mind whether the thing will hurt his hands. Looking at Baitang Wangchuan's handsome profile, Ji Yi suddenly understood something. Your Majesty's airship has arrived. Baitang Wang Chuan, who was looking at the sky, suddenly said with a smile. A golden airship has appeared in the sky to the west of Shangjing City, especially conspicuous. As the figure of the golden airship expanded little by little, the people waiting in the square outside the palace suddenly cheered up and prepared to welcome His Majesty the Emperor's arrival. Many people who had been talking quietly before suddenly stopped. There was a loud voice, and everyone raised their heads and looked forward to it. In just 7 or 8 minutes, a huge golden airship slowly landed in the square outside the palace. The airship landed and the door of the airship opened. A familiar and awe-inspiring figure appeared at the door of the airship, scanning the square with majestic eyes, like a lion king returning to his territory. His Majesty, the Emperor of the Great Shang Kingdom, is finally back. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 303. Golden Summoner. I heard that the Blood Demon sect has been causing trouble in Shangjing City these days. Wang Chuan, you have been able to maintain the stability of Shangjing City by sitting in the city. You can also suppress the Blood Demon sect and wipe out the Blood Demon sect's forces in Shangjing City. Most of the remnants have also cooperated very successfully with the Great Ting Kingdom. The military is very satisfied. Yes, you did not disappoint me. In the Yanyan Hall of the Imperial Palace, His Majesty the Emperor of the Great Shang Kingdom looked at Baitang Wang Chuan and gave a rare compliment. He nodded gently and said 2 good things in a row. Anyone who is familiar with His Majesty the Emperor knows that His Majesty the Emperor is usually indifferent to emotions and rarely praises others. To be able to praise Baitang Wang Chuan so much this time, he should be very satisfied with Baitang Wang Chuan and say so. His Majesty the Emperor of the Great Shang Kingdom is named Baitang Zhao. His face shape is somewhat similar to that of Baitang Wang Chuan, except that his eyebrows are a little higher, his eyebrows are as long as his temples, and his temples are slightly gray. His eyes are as dark as the abyss. There was a bit of cold star flashing in it, unfathomable. The aura on Baitang Zhao's body was that of a dragon and a tiger. He was just sitting on the dragon chair at this moment. It also gave people the feeling of a mountain standing tall, overwhelming the people in the hall. Everyone was a little out of breath, and they could only deal with it carefully in front of him, walking on thin ice. Yesterday, the adjudication army just killed the poison demon. There are still 3 demons from the Blood Demon sect who have yet to be traced. I originally wanted to eliminate the remnants of the Blood Demon sect before my father comes back, but now I have not achieved all the success. I am ashamed. There was no trace of pride on Baitang Wang Chuan's face. Instead, he lowered his head and said modestly. When he said this, for some reason, Baitang Wang Chuan thought of what Xiaopingan said to him when he saw Xiaopingan and Xiaopingan dreaming about it in Zhougong Tower. When the army is defeated, the master will be in trouble. This is a bad omen, but the young master is burned in flames among the defeated army. This is because there is a noble person to help. It is a bad omen for the 5 demons of the Blood Demon sect to come to the capital, but 2 of the 5 demons have already been killed by the Judgment Army because of Xiaopingan. What is this, if not noble help? Let's not talk about anything else, let's talk about that time between the Water Demon and Peach Blossom Bridge. If the Water Demon succeeded during the dragon boat race on Peach Blossom Bridge, too many people in the capital would be killed or injured. He, Baitang Wang Chuan, would be the one to take the blame. At this moment, the scene in Yanyan Hall is probably a different one. That Xiaopingan is really his noble and blessed general. Our battle with the Blood Demon sect has not lasted for 10 or 8 years. There is no need to rush. Among the 5 demons, the ones that threaten the capital the most are the Water Demon, the Poison Demon and the Corpse Demon. Can you defeat the Water Demon? It is a rare thing to destroy the poison demon before they cause a big mess, so there is no need to be harsh. His Majesty the Emperor smiled slightly, and in turn comforted Baitang Wangchuan. At this moment, another person in Yanyan Hall spoke. The person who spoke was sitting next to Baitang Wangchuan. He was wearing bright armor and his face was somewhat similar to Baitang Zhao and Baitang Wangchuan. But he seems to be 1 or 2 years younger than Baitang Wangchuan. His eyes are like the moon in the clouds, their light is introverted, and there is always a sense of hiding something. The man smiled. Father, eldest brother has been overseeing the country these days. Gong should be well rewarded. This man was none other than Baitang Wangchuan's half-brother, Baitang Wangshan, Prince Jing of the Great Shang Kingdom. Baitang Zhao pondered slightly. When Baitang Wangshan said that he wanted His Majesty the Emperor to reward him, Baitang Wangchuan felt like a slippery poisonous snake was close to him. The hairs on his spine suddenly stood up, and his whole body suddenly became nervous. Spirit, before Baitang Zhao spoke, he quickly smiled and said, "Sixth brother, what you said is wrong. As the Crown Prince, it is my duty to supervise the country. As long as everything goes smoothly in the capital city and the Great Shang Kingdom, and the country is peaceful and the people are safe, as long as I can allowing my father to patrol the West with peace of mind is the best reward for me, so why should I need any more rewards from my father?" Big brother said it well. He is very open-minded and ambitious. I want to learn more from Big brother. The young man in armor also smiled and greeted Wangchuan. Where, I heard that the sixth brother made great achievements on the front line, leading his army to behead hundreds of thousands of the One-Eyed clan. The sixth brother is so brave, it is the blessing of our great Shang country. Baitang Wangchuan also loudly praised that sixth brother. Father should reward the sixth brother more. I don't have any bravery. It's all because of my father's bravery and strategizing that I can achieve great victory. I'm just a pawn under my father's command. The young man also smiled and said modestly. The two brothers praised each other here and declined each other's modesty. It seemed that they were really brothers and friends, respectful and happy. His Majesty the Emperor just squinted his eyes slightly and raised his head. His gaze seemed to penetrate the room and look up at the sky. He seemed not to notice anything wrong with the harmonious atmosphere between the Crown Prince and Prince Jing. Seeing that His Majesty the Emperor did not speak and seemed to be thinking about something, the Crown Prince and Prince Jing slowly fell silent, each smiled and nodded to each other, and then sat upright. This time the demonic gate opens, it is different from any other time. His Majesty the Emperor finally spoke. The restlessness and turmoil in the upper world is getting bigger and bigger. The golden palace of the gods may be opened again. The great Shang kingdom needs to be opened soon. Make preparations. I have to make preparations, and when the time is right, I will go to the upper world to look for opportunities. Will the golden temple of the gods be opened again? This news is very shocking, and coming from His Majesty the Emperor, there is absolutely no way it is false. Baitang Wangchuan was shocked. He looked at Baitang Wangshan and found that Baitang Wangshan was also looking towards him, and both of them had a flash of light in their eyes. Wangchuan, starting from today, the Great Shang State has officially begun to implement Class I resource control and is preparing to deal with possible major changes in the future. You can make arrangements. Yes, Baitang Wangchuan suppressed the shock in his heart, stood up, and bowed to accept the order. Wangshan, I will leave the magic gate on the sea to you and guard it. Baitang Wangshan also stood up immediately and bowed to accept the order. Yes. Okay, get out. His Majesty the Emperor waved his hand gently. Let them come in. Baitang Wangchuan and Baitang Wangshan left the Yanyan Hall, and then their brothers and sisters entered the Yanyan Hall one by one to pay their respects to His Majesty the Emperor. There are more than 20 princesses and princes in the capital. Among them, the most outstanding ones are Baitang Wangchuan and Baitang Wanshan. The other princes are unable to compete with these two. They have already given up their thoughts and just be themselves. Of the rich princes, as for the princesses, there are only 4 who are not yet married. His Majesty the Emperor is on a westward tour to Beijing, and these princes and princesses are coming to pay their respects. After the princes and princes paid their respects according to the courtesy and left the Yanyan Palace, His Majesty the Emperor frowned slightly and asked the attendants around him with a rare look of concern, "Where is Cao? Why didn't Cao come? Are you sick?" "The princess has been notified before. The princess is still in the royal dining room and hasn't come out yet," the attendant said helplessly. Imperial dining room. The expression on His Majesty's face suddenly became pleasant and gentle, no longer sharp and majestic. It was as if he had heard something funny and couldn't help laughing. "She is so old, and she still likes to sneak into the imperial dining room something to eat. Well, the princess was in the royal dining room last night and never came out." "Oh, I was in the imperial dining room yesterday." "Let's go, I want to go to the imperial dining room and have a look." The reason why Baitang Wanzhou is called Wanzhou is because Baitang Zhao chose this name himself. Baitang Wanzhou was innocent and innocent since she was a child, and she is quirky and extremely cute. Every time she sees the smile on her daughter's face, Baitang Wanzhou is, Tang Zhao felt that he could forget all his worries and troubles, so he chose such a name hastily. Among the princesses and princes who came to the capital, the one who was most favored and loved by Baitang Zhao was Cao. When His Majesty the Emperor came to the imperial dining room, he saw all the royal chefs in the imperial dining room and the female officials in charge of the imperial dining room standing outside the imperial dining room, with strange expressions on their faces. There was also a hasty voice coming from the imperial dining room, "Kui, fan the fire, pay attention to the heat, this soup will be cooked soon, you can send it to your father, let him taste my craftsmanship, your father will be surprised." When the female chefs in the imperial kitchen saw Baitang Zhao coming in person, they were all frightened and wanted to salute. Baitang Zhao made a gesture that told everyone not to move, walked lightly and walked into the imperial dining room in person. As soon as he heard Cao's words, a smile appeared on Baitang Zhao's face, and all his worries disappeared. In the imperial dining room, Cao was wearing a short-sleeved skirt and an apron around her waist. She was like a female cook, instructing the maid next to her to fan the fire. She stood in front of the stove and stared at it intently. There was a clay pot on the car. Something was stewed in the pot. It was steaming gurglingly, and an alluring aroma was already coming out. Cao, what are you doing?" "Ah." Cao turned around suddenly and saw Baitang Zhao standing behind her with a smile. Her eyes widened. "Father, why are you back?" "Ha ha ha." Seeing the slightly embarrassed soot and smoky look on Cao's face, Baitang Zhao laughed heartily and stretched out his hand to scratch Cao's nose. "Why, I shouldn't coming." "No, why did you suddenly appear here? How can an emperor enter the imperial dining room? You are a scumbag." "I haven't finished it yet." Get out, get out. I'm making soup. I'll bring it to you when I finish it." "You are not allowed to peek around at this time." He stomped his feet and pushed Baitang Zhao, who was about to push the laughing Baitang Zhao out of the imperial dining room. 2 hours later, Baitang Zhao was in the royal study drinking the soup brought by Cao after he had redressed. He looked at Cao's expectant and arrogant expression, and just said "Hurry up and praise me" on his face. After saying a few words, Baitang Zhao put down the bowl with a smile. "Not bad, not bad. The soup you made is different from the ones made by the imperial chefs in the imperial kitchen. The taste is very unique. It tastes good. It tastes good tonight. I want to eat more." As the emperor of the Great Shang Kingdom, Baitang Zhao had never eaten dragon liver, phoenix, and gallbladder, because the soup was hastily made by his daughter specially for him. It was made with care, which made it unique, which made him particularly happy. Of course, this soup does seem to be a little different. Of course, this soup is called Buddha Jumps Over the Wall. It takes a long time to cook. It's so filling. You can't even eat it all over the capital. Cao became happy. Cao, when you grow up, you will make soup for me. Tell me, if you want something, I will give it to you, or I will give you a piece of land. I don't want it. I just want you, father, to finish the soup I made for you. Don't waste it. This is specially made for you, said Cao seriously. Okay, 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 I won't waste it, I will drink it all. The time spent with Cao was really carefree and extremely happy. After finishing the soup from Cao castle and watching Cao leave with satisfaction, Baitan Zhao put away the gentle expression on his face and showed his expression again. The majesty of an emperor. Papa. Baitan Zhao gently clapped his hands, and a cloud of black smoke appeared in front of him. The black smoke looked like a human figure, kneeling on one knee. Check it out, where did Cao learn that soup, and who Cao has been hanging out with these days? As ordered. The black smoke disappeared. When I came back this time, the smile on Cao's face was still pure and flawless, but there seemed to be some vague thoughts hidden in Cao's eyes. Also, Cao seemed to like dressing up a little bit, and the makeup on her face was also more refined. Cao rarely wore earrings. He actually started wearing earrings. These details did not escape Baitan Zhao's eyes. Baitan Zhao felt that his daughter seemed to have grown up a lot. Just an hour later, a thick piece of information was placed in front of Baitan Zhao. It was written down word for word who he had contact with in the past few days, where he went and what he said. Among those materials, there are also some letters written hastily to someone. There are many wrinkles on the paper. They were all written, probably crumpled into a ball and thrown away. Then they were written again, crumpled into a ball again and thrown away. They were turned over and over again. The words and sentences were changed over and over again, and the drawings and pictures were filled with the girl's cardamom-like thoughts and longings. Among the information and the hasty and distracted handwriting pictures, the name Baitan Zhao saw the most was Xia Ping'an. Chapter 2 later today. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 304. When Xia Ping'an passed by the Zhougong building, a lot of the ruins of the Zhougong building had been cleaned up. There were several carriages pulling debris parked next to the Zhougong building, and several workers were busy lighting lamps on the ruins. Xia Ping'an didn't look much further. In the past 2 days, he had already found someone to sell the land in Zhougong building, recovered more than 30,000 gold coins, and compensated the neighbors who had been affected by him. The new owner here wanted to. He doesn't care if anything else is built here. Such a big thing happened here, and if he still settled here to set up a stall, it was because the people who wanted his life could not find a place to plot against him, so he had no choice but to change hands. Thinking that his career plan as a dream fortune teller only ended up with 2 customers and 1 assassin from the beginning to the end, Xia Ping'an couldn't help but sigh. This is how the ideal is full, the reality is very skinny, and the flowers that are planted with intentions will not bloom. Unintentionally planting willows and willows to create shade. At first, I didn't make any money in my ideal business of making money, but I still made a lot of money. However, I was making a lot of money every day in my job that I didn't want to make money. You two were very fierce that night. The iron-masked man walking next to Xia Ping'an looked at the ruins of Zhougong building and said softly. Ahem, can you please make it clear so that the people next to you don't misunderstand me? That night, I almost died. The man in the iron mask laughed softly under his mask and joked, so, you came to me. Well, can't you find it? I'm going to die. I still care about so much. Besides, you have to give me an explanation. Xiaopingan and the man in the iron mask chatted and walked through the street. The man in the iron mask still wears an iron mask, making it difficult for people to see his face. This behavior may be considered weird in other places, but in this world, in Shangjing City, the mask on the man in the iron mask looks like a woman. He was wearing heavy makeup, so not many people cared about him at all. The people he met along the way only glanced at his face and looked away. However, there are many strange people in Tianyuan Qiao night market wearing strange clothes. Just now, a few people with copper rings on their noses and tattoos all over their faces walked by. Everyone is used to it, and they occasionally encounter them here. Don't be too surprised if there are 1 or 2 people wearing hats made of monster heads and masks made of skulls. There are a lot of strange people in Beijing. There are many people setting up stalls on the street, and the stalls are full of boundary beads. Xiaopingan and the iron-faced man walked all the way from the entrance of Tianyuan Bridge to the market and looked at many stalls. Xiaopingan originally wanted to pick up some, but he found that after visiting the night market so many times, he now wanted to go to the night market. It is no longer possible to pick up leeks here, because basically all the world beads on those stalls have been fused by him. Those rare world beads that have not been fused can hardly be seen at roadside stalls. This is the consequence of growth. At first, you will feel that there are world beads everywhere and opportunities everywhere. As your strength improves and the world beads that need to be integrated are integrated, the world beads on those stalls will no longer exist. I can't attract your attention anymore. If you want to get those new and rare world beads, you can only find other ways. Tonight, Xiaopingan is coming to Pengwang Auction House to participate in the VIP auction of Pengwang Auction House. There should be some boundary beads that are not easy to see on the market. By the way, you have cultivated to the 7 Yang realm, and you must have integrated a lot of world beads. Where did you get the money? Xiaopingan chatted with the iron-masked man as he walked. Such a character is somewhat aloof, and his family does not have a strong background, nor does he have any backers. It is simply a miracle that he can cultivate to the 7 Suns realm. It is a fusion of a lot of world beads. It costs so much money that I can't even remember how much I spent, the iron-masked man said with some emotion in his tone. The money I spent to buy the world beads was from my spiritual mind crystal. In exchange, I used to explore everywhere and discovered a crystal mine of spiritual consciousness crystal in a secret realm of the void, so I had the resources to advance all the way to the 7 Sun realm. The crystal mine of the divine sense crystal? Xiaopingan glanced at the man in the iron mask, but he didn't expect the man in the iron mask to have such luck. Is there anything in the secret realm of the void? You've never entered? No. No wonder. The small void secret realm may be about the same as a village, and the large one may be larger than several Jinyu continents combined, or even boundless. There are various monsters in the void secret realm, as well as various people and races. Many families even live in the secret realm of the void. Is there still a family in the void secret realm? Well, you may not be able to fully understand the mysteries in the void secret realm in your lifetime. There are also many treasures and various opportunities in some void secret realms. The iron-faced man suddenly sighed. Of course. The premise is that you can survive. That time, hundreds of us summoners entered the secret realm of the void. Although everyone was not strong, there were only 3 people who survived in the end, and I was one of them. The 2 of them chatted all the way and arrived at Pengwang Auction House before they knew it. After entering Pengwang Auction House, Xiaopingan took out the VIP ID tag of Pengwang Auction House, and the iron-faced man also took out a VIP ID tag. The 2 of them walked through the special passage and were taken to 2 adjacent auction rooms. Inside, everyone participating in the VIP auction has a separate private room. The auction stage is in a circular stage. On 3 sides of the stage, there are layers of independent private rooms, just like a large theater. The people in the private rooms cannot see each other, everyone can only see the items to be auctioned and the quotations of other private rooms. Such an auction can ensure the absolute privacy of bidders. Xuanhuan wanted to use his remote viewing ability to see what was going on in other private rooms in the private room, but found that his remote viewing ability was completely restricted in the private room. The most amazing thing is that in each private room here, there is a summoned businessman who serves the VIPs who come to the auction and is responsible for bidding. There are also drinks in the private room, so people participating in the VIP auction can drink wine in the private room while signaling to the merchants summoned from the private room to bid. Not long after Xuanhuan arrived in the private room, a beautiful woman in a white dress came to the auction table below. The surrounding lights suddenly focused on the woman, letting people know that the auction had begun. Dear guests attending the Peking auction, I am very sorry to inform you that our auction house has just received a notice that from today, the Great Shang State will officially launch the First-Class Resource Control Act. The rare world pearls auctioned by the VIP auction house, it belongs to a first-class controlled resource and is prohibited from public sale and auction. The winner can only sell it to the Das Hang State Reserve Committee. Therefore, this VIP auction is the last VIP auction before the implementation of the First-Class Resource Control Act that Penguang Auction House fought for. Meeting. Upon hearing this, Xuanhuan was also depressed. Unexpectedly, he became a VIP of Penguang Auction House, but could only enjoy one VIP auction. I heard that His Majesty the Emperor has returned to the capital today, and that certain type of resource control bill will also be implemented today. Is this what His Majesty the Emperor meant? No matter what, Xuanhuan has already felt that in tonight's VIP auction, the VIPs participating in the auction may bargain very hard. Because I don't know when I will participate in such an auction next time. The atmosphere in the auction hall suddenly became a little restless. At the same time, the dark demon got off the rail bus with a black umbrella and a briefcase that was not old but not new. After 2 days of observation and confirming that he was not exposed, the dark demon finally began to move again. This bus stop is in a residential area in the south of Shangjing City. It is already late. There are not many people at the bus stop. The street is also a little deserted. A newspaper boy is still here selling today's newspaper, but the price of the newspaper has become half price. Dark Demon bought a half-price newspaper and sat on a chair at the bus stop. He read the newspaper intently by the light of the roadside gas lamp, as if waiting for other rail buses. After waiting for more than 20 minutes, another tram bus came. An old man with the same plain appearance and ordinary clothes and even wearing a cane got off the bus. The old man, wearing a cane and hunched over, slowly walked to the dark devil next to him. He then sat next to Dark Demon, seemingly also waiting for the rail bus. In the dark station, there was an old man and a middle-aged man waiting for the bus. It was estimated that no one would pay attention. Several other people at the station got on the bus when the old man got off, and they were all gone at once. Bai Tangzhao is back today. Seeing the man sitting next to him, Dark Mo stared at the newspaper, but the words on his lips reached the ears of the old man who was the narrator. What's going on with the poison devil? Hasn't he always been in contact with you? The old man next to him also spoke, and the two of them talked quietly in a voice that only the other party could hear. The news I got here is that the Judgment Army raided various water plants in the capital, and the poison demon was accidentally exposed and killed. The Judgment Army is more difficult to deal with than we thought, and the water demon was also tricked. Damn it, after I applied corpse poison last time, the Judgment Army has been tracking me down and hasn't let up. I changed my identity several times before I got rid of it. This place can no longer be connected. I prepared a plan for Bai Tangzhao today. What a great gift. What kind of gift? Hee, it should be almost done now. You will be able to see it soon. The Dream Demon should also take action today. If the Dream Demon does not move today, it will be difficult for the Palace Master to explain. As soon as the two of them finished saying this, they saw a fire rising from the ground to the sky at a place to the north of Shangjing City. In the dark night, a huge orange-red fireball suddenly rose from the ground, destroying half of the city. The capital city is all lit up. The dream demon has taken action. I should also start mine. I would like to welcome Bai Tang Zhao today. The man said gloomily. The corpse demon finally appeared. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 305. Inside Pengwang Auction Hall. As we all know, there are many kinds of world beads for summoning giants, and the world bead we are currently auctioning is one of them. The biggest feature of this world bead is that it will not die even if the fusion fails, and it will not die if it succeeds. After fusion, you can summon giants, and the divine power blessing you get is more than 30 points. The starting price of this world bead is 25,000 gold coins, and the price will be increased by no less than 500 gold coins each time. The bidding starts now. As soon as the beautiful auctioneer finished speaking, people began to bid in the private rooms of the auction house. In a very short period of time, the starting price of the boundary pearl of 25,000 gold coins was pushed up to 30,000 gold coins. Xiaopingan held a wine glass in his hand and squinted at the projection photo of the boundary bead on the auction table below. In the projection photo of the boundary bead, Xiaopingan saw the small seal characters in the boundary bead as big 5 words, "You harvest giants." Xiaopingan's eyes were staring at the projection on the auction table, but the scene in his consciousness was the scene where the dark demon and the corpse demon met at the station. The corpse demon finally appeared. Xiaopingan was a little excited. As long as the corpse demon appeared in front of the god of fortune boy, it would be impossible for the corpse demon to run away again. 4 of the 5 demons of the blood demon sect have now been exposed. All it takes is an incubus. The dark demon and the corpse demon had just talked about the dream demon at the station, and then Xiaopingan saw a huge orange-red fireball rising in the night sky north of Beijing. It would have been a huge explosion to cause such a movement. To the north of Shangjing City, there seems to be an ammunition factory of the Great Shang State. The high explosives that the Great Shang State is planning to produce recently are produced in that factory. The incubus did it. The zombie demon will also take action tonight. Xiaopingan in the box suddenly stood up. 37,500 gold coins, the VIP in box 36 bid 37,500 gold coins. Is there anything higher? On the auction stage, as soon as the beautiful auctioneer finished speaking, Xiaopingan felt a faint tremor from the ground beneath his feet. 40,000 gold coins. Xiaopingan asked the businessman in the room to quote a price. Without waiting for the beautiful auctioneer's final confirmation, and regardless of whether he got the shot, Xiaopingan drank the wine in the glass in one gulp and stood up suddenly. He got up, opened the door of the box, and walked out directly. 40,000 gold coins is no longer a small amount. Everyone who comes here to auction the world pearl has a steel yard in mind. Although the competition in tonight's world pearl auction is a bit fierce, this price is already much higher than the usual auction price of the giant world pearl. This is also the highest price Xiaopingan can pay for the world bead. Xiaopingan was not the only one who felt the shock, the entire Pengwang auction house felt it, and there was a slight commotion in the auction house. Sir, please rest assured that everything is normal at Pengwang auction house and the auction is being held normally. We have sent people to investigate the cause of the tremor that just came from the underground. It seems that something happened to the north of Shangjing City. Seeing Xiaopingan walking out in the private room, an auction house staff member immediately walked up with a smile on his face and explained to Xiaopingan. Perhaps for the auction house, as long as nothing happens at the auction house, it is not a big deal, but for Xiaopingan, this is not the case. Tonight, Shangjing City will be in chaos again after a peaceful few days. I don't know how many people will die. Under this situation, Xiaopingan, as the inspector, has no intention of staying at the auction house any longer. He had to do something. The door of the room next to him opened, and the man in the iron mask also came out, looking at Xiaopinggan with doubtful eyes. He also felt that something seemed to have happened in Shangjing City. The world pearl I took will come to settle the payment later. Now I have something to do and I have to take the first step. After Xiaopinggan finished speaking, he ignored the auction house service staff and strode directly outside the auction house. The man in the iron mask followed without saying a word. "What's wrong?" the man in the iron mask asked. "The blood demon cult." Xiaopinggan said 3 words briefly. After walking out of the auction house, Xiaopinggan saw many people in the square and night market outside the auction house stopping, looking up at the night sky to the north of the capital city. There were looks of surprise and suspicion on everyone's faces, and they were talking a lot. The orange-red fireball north of Shangjing City expanded and rose, turning into a huge mushroom cloud and blazing fire. It had already shot straight into the night sky for thousands of meters, illuminating the night sky north of Shangjing City. The black smoke was billowing behind the fire, like the dark shadow of the devil rising from the ground, covering the clouds and the moon. In this case, any idiot knows something is wrong, and something big. Xiaopinggan took a look with his remote viewing ability and saw that the ammunition factory north of Shangjing City, dozens of miles away, had turned into a big pit. The violent explosion leveled the ammunition factory to the ground in an instant. All the houses and buildings within 2 kilometers of the surrounding area were affected and were collapsing and burning, like hell. The huge explosion scattered many artillery shells and ammunition stored in the ammunition factory warehouse everywhere, and the furthest ones were thrown thousands of meters away. Those ammunition exploded one after another. The tragedy was indescribable, and the casualties and property losses were inestimable. Xiaopinggan just looked up a few times, paused for a moment, then his face changed slightly, and with a wave of his hand, he directly summoned a 1,000-mile horse with a flashing red light. He got on the horse, shook the reins, drive, the 1,000-mile horse neighed, let go of its hooves, and started running wildly in the night market of Tianyuan Bridge. Because Xiaopinggan already knows where the corpse demon is causing trouble. Without hesitation, the man in the iron mask also summoned a 1,000-mile horse and followed Xiaopinggan to run wildly in the Tianyuan Qiao night market. In the urban area of Shangjing City, no one is allowed to ride a horse except carriages. The people on horseback and carriages in the night market also gave way to the 2 galloping horses. A team of the Judiciary Army on duty in the Tianyuan Bridge night market had just seen the situation in the north of Shangjing City and were still confused. In the blink of an eye, they saw someone galloping towards them on Tianyuan Bridge. The captain of the Judgment Army team immediately rushed to the road, making a gesture of casting a spell to intercept, and stopped the 2 running wildly. Xiaopinggan immediately reined in the horse, and the galloping horse almost stood up with its feet off the ground. "I am Xiaopinggan, Inspector of Donggang." Xiaopinggan directly took out the inspector's identity token on the horse and loudly ordered the team of the Adjudicator Army, "Notify the Adjudicator Army immediately, Qinggui Town a large-scale corpse transformation has occurred." In order to prevent the spread of corpse poison, the Judgment Army immediately dispatched troops to intercept. The name Xiaopinggan is very popular among the members of the Judgment Army these days. As soon as he saw the inspector's token that Xiaopinggan took out, and also said the information that a large-scale corpse mutiny occurred in Qinggui Town, the face of the captain of the Judgment Army team who intercepted Xiaopinggan changed instantly. Qinggui Town is a town on the outskirts of Shangjing City. It has a population of more than 100,000 and is well connected with transportation. There are many market towns around it, and it also leads to the urban area. Once a large-scale corpse mutation occurs in Qinggui Town and spreads, the consequences will be unthinkable. The team leader of the Judgment Army quickly moved out of the way, allowing Xiaopinggan to rush out on horseback, and then the team leader immediately notified the Judgment Army. Xiaopingan and the iron-faced man rode horses and quickly rushed out of Tianyuan Kiao night market and came outside. At this moment, the street outside was sparsely populated, with almost no pedestrians left. The two rode horses and ran wildly on the street. Xiaopingan rushed directly in the direction of Qinggui town, the sound of 2,000-mile horses' hooves sounding like thunder and running like the wind. "How did you know something happened in Qinggui town?" The iron-faced man rode on the horse and turned to ask Xiaopingan. He was also surprised. He and Xiaopingan were both at Pengwang auction house just now. How did Xiaopingan know about Qingpingan? Is there a large-scale corpse mutagen in Weitown? A strong person sent me news. Xiaopingan replied. Is the god of fortune boy considered a strong person? In Xiaopingan's eyes, of course he is. There is no dispute, so Xiaopingan feels that he is telling the truth. But hearing these words in the ears of the iron-faced man gave him a different feeling. He was right next to Xiaopingan, but he didn't know who had passed on the news to Xiaopingan. The cultivation of the strong man that Xiaopingan said, why, at least above him, could Xiaopingan be supported by a strong man from the 8-yang realm and the 9-yang realm? This made the iron-masked man feel slightly chilled, feeling that he still underestimated Xiaopingan. Xiaopingan and the iron-faced man rushed to Qinggui town as quickly as possible. When they rushed there, Qinggui town was filled with screams. People infected with corpse poison were everywhere chasing those normal people. Some people happened. The zombies have left the town and are looking for targets everywhere. The two towns around Qinggui town have been affected and some riots have begun. There were no troops or adjudication troops stationed around Qinggui town. When riots broke out, they could only provide support from other places. Xiaopingan and the iron-faced man were the first to arrive. Seeing the two people rushing towards them, 7 or 8 transformed zombies rushed towards Xiaopingan and the two with red eyes and drooling. Looking at the clothes of the zombies, each one is a resident of this town, and one is a policeman. The mouths of each zombie are bloody and bloody. They have completely lost their minds and turned into bloodthirsty beasts. Before Xiaopingan could make a move, the iron-masked man waved his hand, and a fire snake flew out. The 7 or 8 zombies that rushed towards him were turned into ashes in an instant by the fire snake passing through their bodies. The fire snake's fire was like a candle lit in the darkness, attracting more zombies at once. I'll stay here while you go and clear out the zombies that have fled to nearby towns. Xiaopingan said directly to the man in the iron mask. The place where the two of them are is the main traffic intersection from Qinggui town to Shangjing city. The zombies in the town are spreading in all directions. As long as you hold on here, you can block the zombies first and prevent the zombies from spreading. Come. The man in the iron mask disappeared in a flash without saying a word. Looking at the large group of zombies with red eyes rushing over, Xiaopingan cursed secretly. With a wave of his hand, he summoned 100 elite slave soldiers. The elite slave soldiers formed a battle formation and blocked them. Intersection. The fierce fighting started instantly. The next chapter will be updated later. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 306. The summoned elite slave soldiers are not afraid of corpse poison and will not transform into corpses. They are the best warriors to deal with zombies that undergo corpse transformation. Ouch! In the darkness, the transformed zombies rushed towards Xiaopingan with ferocious faces, baring their teeth and claws. What greeted them was the flying spears of the elite slave soldiers. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The spears flew in like a swarm of locusts, powerful and heavy, accurate and ruthless. As Xiaopingan advanced to the Four-Sun realm, the combat power of the elite slave soldiers also increased. The accuracy and strength of the spears thrown were greatly improved. Most of the spears thrown directly passed through those rushing. The heads of the zombies that came over exploded, and only a small part passed through the chests of the zombies, nailing the zombies that rushed over to the ground. The head is also the fatal weakness of the zombies. The zombies whose heads were blown open by the gun fell to the ground and died instantly. The zombies whose bodies were shot through by the gun still struggled after they fell. He pulled out his gun, then stumbled towards Xiaoping's place with his bloody mouth open. What greeted the zombies who rushed forward was the Changji of the elite slave soldiers. The elite slave soldiers formed a battle formation and blocked the intersection from Qinggui town to the urban area of Shangjing city. The 3 rows of elite slave soldiers in front held long swords and refused to retreat, piercing the chests and heads of the zombies that came over. After digging through, for a moment, the intersection was filled with a strong smell of blood, like a battlefield. Xiaoping stood behind the battle formation of the elite slave soldiers, looking at the zombies rushing over with a solemn expression. With a wave of his hand, an assassin wearing a black scarf and wrapped in black mist was summoned by Xiaoping, kneeling on one knee. Half kneeling on the ground. This is Xiaoping's first time to summon an assassin after fusing the assassin's world bead. As soon as the assassin was summoned, Xiaoping pointed towards Qinggui town and gave an order in his heart. The black shadow rushed towards Qinggui town at a very fast speed, like a black-blue sheep. In the blink of an eye, it passing through the battle formations and long swords of a large number of elite slave soldiers, he jumped up, stepped on the heads and shoulders of several zombies, rolled his body flexibly in the air, and suddenly landed on a large number of zombies. Behind. 3 zombies rushed towards the assassin. The assassin pulled out his sharp dagger and instantly transformed into a dexterous swordsman. In the blink of an eye, the dagger pierced the eyes, ears, and mouths of the 3 zombies. With one pick and one chop, the heads of the 3 zombies exploded and their brains were scattered all over the ground. When the 3 zombie bodies fell to the ground, the assassin had already flashed, ran 100 meters away, and rushed into a dark alley in the town. In the blink of an eye, the alley was blocked again. The 2 zombies inside opened their heads and rescued a woman trapped in the carriage. The assassin was really powerful, not a little bit stronger than the elite slave soldiers. Xiaoping summoned the assassin and asked the assassin to enter Qinggui town to kill the zombies and rescue the people in the town who had not been infected by the corpse poison. Unfortunately, this assassin is the only exclusive character and can only be summoned one at a time. Xiaoping threw 2 fireballs, igniting an old man with a big belly and a woman in a nightgown at the intersection like torches. The blazing fire, extremely dazzling in the darkness, suddenly made the intersection here become the focus again, attracting a large number of zombies in the town to rush here. The zombies rushing over were a mass of darkness, like the condensed tide of beasts huddled together. Xiaoping looked at the zombies and sighed in his heart. Judging from their clothing, the zombies who rushed over were all residents of the town, including men, women, old, and young. However, at this moment, after being infected with the corpse poison, these people were actually already dead, leaving only one body behind. The body is as bloodthirsty as a beast, and wants to continuously infect everyone who is still alive with corpse poison. The elite slave soldiers resisting the zombies gradually suffered casualties, and the light dissipated. As soon as the elite slave soldiers in front dissipated, the ones behind immediately pushed forward to prevent the zombies from rushing out. Looking at the surging corpse tide, Xiaoping waved his hand and once again summoned 50 storm cavalry and 50 elite slave soldiers to join the battle group. With the addition of the storm cavalry, the pressure on the elite slave soldiers defending in front was suddenly reduced. The storm cavalry's mounted shooting on horseback became more accurate. Every arrow shot out could accurately hit the heads of those zombies, killing those zombies. Pierced brain. At this time, the power of the summoner is revealed. Xiaoping, alone, guarding this intersection, completely blocked the road from the town to the urban area of Jingcheng, so that the zombies could not rush into the city. It caused greater damage and panic in the area, completely isolating the spread of corpse poison from the urban area of the upper capital. There were shouts of death, cries, and all kinds of noise and confusion in the town. Some buildings caught fire and began to burn. More than 70% of the residents in Qinggui town have transformed into corpses, and the remaining ones who are not infected are resisting. Those who tried to escape from the town were basically dead. The smart ones stayed at home and closed the door tightly to resist the chaotic and violent tide of corpses outside. From time to time, gunshots like popping beans rang out throughout the town. In the east and southwest of the town, there were faint fluctuations of divine power, and the brilliance of the fireball technique lit up in the darkness, indicating that there were people living in this town. The summoner was also involved. And further away, in the direction where the iron-masked man disappeared, there were flashes of fire snakes in the darkness from time to time. That was the iron-masked man clearing away the zombies running out of the town. Several nearby towns had already begun to attack. There was chaos, but some people began to organize resistance. Seeing the zombies rushing in front being killed by elite slave soldiers and storm cavalry, they were scattered all over the ground, layer upon layer. While all the zombies in front were killed, Xiaopingan waved his hand, and the battle formation of the elite slave soldiers suddenly separated and split into two, leaving the road in the middle. The storm cavalry behind them rushed directly through the battle formation of the elite slave soldiers. Formation, heading towards the town to kill. 50 storm cavalry galloped forward, and the sound of hooves sounded like thunder, which suddenly sounded in the town. This thunderous sound of hooves attracted the attention of the zombies in the town, causing them to converge on the main road in the town. Of encouragement, the 50 storm cavalry just rushed out and rushed into the town, stepping on the corpses of the zombies on the ground. Like a wild dragon, they started killing and rampaging through the town. The battle formations of the elite slave soldiers had just regrouped, and warning signs suddenly appeared in Xiaopingan's heart. The murderous intention in the darkness suddenly surged forward, chilling the bones. Xiaopingan didn't even think about it. His whole body jumped up from the ground. His feet were strolling in the air. He took one step and activated the step-by-step lotus skill. A golden lotus appeared on the ground. Touching Xiaopingan's solace, Xiaopingan's figure disappeared from the place instantly like a ghost and lightning. With just one step, he moved to more than 20 meters away and stepped on the second golden lotus. And at the moment when Xiaopingan's figure disappeared from the spot with the magical skill of stepping lotus, a ray of light lit up on the ground where Xiaopingan was just now, and the technique of drawing the ground as a prison was just a hair's breadth away, intersecting with Xiaopingan's figure and footsteps. And passed. In addition to the technique of drawing the ground as a prison, several large nets composed of black air also flew from all directions, covering the space around the place where Xiaopingan was just now. Behind the technique of drawing the ground as a prison and the large black net, a dense patch of thousands of fine black needles like cow hairs spurted out from the darkness, and suddenly covered the ground within a 10-meter radius of where Xiaopingan was standing just now. Completely enveloped. The fine needles like ox hair fell on the ground, making a hissing sound, and black smoke rose from the ground. The sand, gravel, and soil on the ground instantly turned black, shattered, and melted, emitting an unpleasant pungent smell. Hundreds of square meters the ground turned into a big crater in just an instant. In the darkness, 6 men in black clothes and masks with ghost faces rushed towards Xiaopingan. In one of the guy's hands, he was holding a big guy with a kettle that was more than 3 feet long, like a kettle. Like a cannon, facing me. The zombie demon's men. Such a thought suddenly flashed through Xiaopingan's head. This was not a conscious ambush on him, but the zombie demon's men who were adding fuel to the fire outside the town, hoping to spread the corpse poison in the town quickly. Seeing that he was blocking it here, they made him the target of the attack. Xiaopingan's eyes flashed with murderous intent. He looked at the men of the zombie demon who were charging towards him. With just one step, lotus flowers appeared under his feet. As he stepped on the lotus flower, his figure mysteriously disappeared from the place and suddenly appeared in front of the man holding everyone in his hand. Next to the corpse demon's subordinates, the 3-talent whip burning with blazing flames appeared in Xiaoping's hand. There was just a violent explosion in the air, and the San-K whip had already penetrated the head of the man holding the big guy in his hand. The man's body suddenly burned and turned into ashes and fell. Everyone holding the whip in his hand, the guy also fell to the ground. The San-K whip was retracted, rolled up, and cut 2 ice picks and 2 fireballs from it. The burning whip was suddenly wrapped around the neck of another person. That person's neck was snapped by the whip, and the whole body burned. Also turns to ashes in the blink of an eye. At the same time, Xiaoping raised his foot, took the cannon-like thing on the ground in his hand, pointed it at the other 3 people, and then pulled the trigger without hesitation. Thousands of fine needles flew out from the muzzle, like lightning, covering hundreds of square meters of space in an instant, covering the 3 people who were rushing towards them. The 3 people didn't say a word. Just when one of them had cast his summoning spell halfway, the 3 people's bodies were pierced by countless fine needles. The flesh and blood clothes on the bodies of the 3 living people suddenly turned into black pus and blood and fell from the bodies. The remaining pale bones rushed forward 2 steps, and the pale bones quickly turned black and corroded. And then fell to the ground with a crash and turned into powder. The remaining person was almost scared to death. He didn't expect Xiaoping to be so terrifying. He killed 5 people in just the blink of an eye. A thought flashed in that person's head, and he hesitated whether to continue attacking or turn around and run away. At that moment, the lotus flower under Xiaoping's feet flashed and appeared beside him. The burning whip of the San-K whip penetrated through his head, killing him instantly. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 307. Last night's battle was not really intense for a summoner of the Four-Sun realm, but it just took a long time. Neither those who had transformed into corpses nor the raids by the corpse demon's men had caused real harm to Xiaoping. After the main force of the Judgment Army arrived, the corpse transformation in Qinggui town was brought under control. At dawn, everything calmed down. The whole Qinggui town is filled with smoke, and large areas of burnt zombie corpses are scattered all over the town. The burnt smell of meat and protein makes people feel like they are in a crematorium, which is very discomfort. In addition to those corpses, a large number of houses in the town were also reduced to ruins in the flames. At dawn, there were still several houses burning, but no one cared about them anymore. The whole town looked like the remnants of the war. There is no longer the prosperity and tranquility before. Some of the houses that were burned and turned into ruins were ignited due to various factors when the zombies occurred, and many of them were ignited when the adjudication army entered the town for encirclement and suppression. Those houses where zombies gathered were determined to, when no one is around, throw in a few fireballs and the whole house will burn. The ruling army's method of dealing with corpses is simple and brutal. Those who survived the disaster were sobbing softly and mourning. After undergoing strict epidemic prevention inspections, they temporarily left the town and were resettled in other places in the capital city. Qinggui town and the 2 surrounding towns have been strictly sealed off and divided into zombie virus infection and epidemic prevention areas. People from these towns can only come back after going through strict epidemic prevention and disinfection procedures. This time, hundreds of thousands of people migrated. Even the garrison was dispatched. As for Qinggui town, it is estimated that it will be bulldozed because there are too many people infected with corpse poison in this town. The town is filled with the blood and brains spilled by the infected people and the pieces of corpse flesh left behind. The flesh and blood are also infectious. Now in this town, all animals such as cats, dogs, rats, etc. must be eliminated. Otherwise, these animals may be infected with corpse poison and then pass the corpse poison to other people and animals, causing serious spread of corpse poison. The corpse demon brings the most dangerous biological attack. The number of casualties in the entire Qinggui town exceeded 80,000, and there were corpses in almost every house in every corner of the town. Therefore, bulldozing the town and setting it on fire was the simplest and most effective anti-epidemic measure. If the explosion at the elixir factory was included, the number of casualties in Shangjing City last night might have exceeded 150,000. In just one night, the atmosphere in Shangjing City had completely changed. When the first ray of sunlight hit the tallest bell tower in Qinggui town, Xiaoping'an stood in a small square in the town below the bell tower, watching the judgment army cleaning up the corpses in the square one by one. Couldn't help but sigh. Too many people died. If he and the iron-masked man hadn't arrived in time last night to stop the spread of corpse poison, today's situation might have been even worse. Although he had made great achievements, Xiaoping'an couldn't get excited. Looking at the corpses one after another and the entire prosperous town being destroyed overnight, Xiaoping'an felt a little sour and weak, and a little sad. He tried his best, and the god of fortune boy also tried his best, but there were some things that he couldn't completely control. These ordinary people were too fragile in front of summoners like the corpse demon. The corpse demon destroyed a market town just like ordinary people destroyed a town. Like a honeycomb. Fortunately, the water demon and the poison demon have been discovered and killed in advance. Otherwise, the damage caused by the 5 demons of the blood demon sect to Shangjing City is simply incalculable, and it is possible that Shangjing City will be truly destroyed. Boom! A half-burned 5-story building on the edge of the square collapsed at this time. In the firelight, a figure of a giant more than 10 meters high was revealed. The giant who greeted him was just a giant figure. Push and a building will fall down. The easiest way to bulldoze a town is to summon a few giants. Xiaoping'an shook his head and wanted to leave, but at this moment, he saw Ji Yi walking through the small square filled with corpses, patrolling the town, and walking towards the side. Ji Yi's face was as gloomy as ever, like an iron block hanging on his face. When such a big thing happens in the capital city, the first one to take the blame is the adjudication army. Ji Yi also saw Xiaoping'an and walked directly towards Xiaoping'an. "I've met you, sir," Xiaoping'an saluted Lin Yi. "You did a good job last night. If you hadn't arrived early and blocked the intersection from the town to the capital, this mess would have been even bigger." No matter how gloomy Ji Lin Yi's face was, he had to soften when he saw Xiaoping'an. I just did what I was supposed to do. Xiaoping'an made a great contribution last night. Moreover, Xiaoping'an is still a member of the Judgment Army. Although a zombie has occurred in the town, the Judgment Army's disposal was still very timely. At least it did not allow the corpse to spread in the upper capital. This gave the Judgment Army more or less authority in front of His Majesty the Emperor. Something to say without completely losing face. The 2 incidents in Shangjing last night made His Majesty the Emperor, who had just returned to Shangjing, furious. He had given Ji Yi a death order to quickly eliminate the remnants of the blood demon sect at all costs. Baitang Xuanhuan happened to escape last night. After His Majesty the Emperor returned to Beijing yesterday, all the rights to go to the capital returned to His Majesty the Emperor's hands. Therefore, if something goes wrong, Baitang Xuanhuan cannot be blamed. Go up, this is the blood demon sect slapping the Emperor of Great Shang Kingdom in the face. If this had happened earlier, Baitang Xuanhuan might not be able to escape the blame. After praising Xiaoping'an, Lin Yi asked directly, "How did you first know that something had happened in Qinggui town?" "That person informed me." As soon as Xiaoping'an finished speaking, Ji Yi raised his eyebrows and his eyes flashed. "That person already knows the whereabouts of the corpse demon." "Yes, in addition to the corpse demon, he also knows the whereabouts of the dark demon." For Xiaoping'an, since the dream demon lives alone and does not contact other people, the existence value of the dark demon and the corpse demon is gone. After experiencing such a big change last night, Xiaopinggan also wanted to deal with these two people as soon as possible. Of these two people, one was eyeing him covetously, and the other had terrifying destructive power. It was best to get rid of them directly with the help of the Judgment Army. What conditions does he want? 1 million gold coins, plus 10 rare world beads. Okay, Ji Yi nodded in agreement without thinking. I will ask someone to give it to you later. Where are those two people? Xiaopinggan told the hiding place and current identities of the two people. Lin Yi moved his hand and summoned a green bird. He gently stroked the green bird, and then threw it up. The green bird soared into the sky in the blink of an eye, made a buzzing sound, and disappeared quickly. Like lightning. I have asked the shadow guards to rob and kill the dark demon. Are you okay now? Ji Yi's voice carried a hint of cold murderous intent that could not be concealed, indicating that the commander-in-chief of the Judgment Army was angry. Nothing, Xiaopinggan said. If you have nothing to do, how about coming with me to meet the zombie demon? Lin Yi asked directly. Okay, Xiaopinggan nodded. Let's go, I'll take you there. After Lin Yi finished speaking, he grabbed Xiaopinggan's wrist, and then Xiaopinggan felt his body dwarfed, his feet softened, and the hard ground suddenly became like marshmallows. He fell in, and he was led directly under the ground by Ji Yi, and began to move forward quickly under the ground. Holy shit, is this the art of Earth escape? This feeling is indescribable. It's like riding a high-speed train shuttling underground at a very fast speed. At this moment, the underground rock and soil seem to have turned into masses of unreal fog, which can be easily passed through. Xiaopinggan can see the hidden things underground as he passes underground rivers, ditches, tree roots, walls. These things also become hazy and unreal in the state of earth magic. Things on the ground can also be seen, just like through the sloshing water. Just like looking at fish and rocks in the water, the scenery on the ground will flash quickly in front of people's eyes. This earth escape technique is so amazing. In just a few minutes, Xiaopinggan felt his body rise sharply, and Ji Yi had already led him out of the ground to a residential area on the west side of Shangjing City. The ground beneath my feet became hard again, and everything in the material world became real again. The courtyard of the residential building where the zombie demon lived was just 10 meters in front of the two of them. When the two of them came out of the ground, the corpse demon was lying on the deck chair with a few old people, basking in the sun downstairs, chatting about what happened in the capital last night. The corpse demon is like an ordinary old man who spends his days here. Who would have thought that this old man turned Qinggui town into a cemetery last night? Seeing Ji Yi and Xiaopinggan who suddenly emerged from the ground, the other old men's faces were all shocked. Only the corpse demon's face suddenly changed, and there was a trace of divine power fluctuations on his body. Lin Yi's sharp, razor-sharp gaze was immediately fixed on the corpse demon's face, as if he wanted to cut the corpse demon into pieces with 1,000 knives. The surrounding air seemed to be still at this moment. 1/100th of a second, not even 1/100th of a second. Xiaopinggan saw a hint of despair on the corpse demon's face. He raised his hand and shrank back, trying to retreat. Ji Yi's movements were faster than those of the corpse demon. He just stamped his foot. In just an instant, Xiaopinggan felt that the surrounding courtyard and the old man had all disappeared. He, the corpse demon, and Lin Yi were suddenly in a void. There are 3 horizontal lines in the sky. The upper and lower horizontal lines of the 3 horizontal lines are disconnected in the middle, and the middle horizontal line is connected together. It is a Gon hexagram representing water. Those 3 horizontal lines are as powerful as mountains, filling the entire space with infinite power. Lin Yi stood on the 3 horizontal lines of Gongua, his eyes were shining, his beard and hair were flying, and his whole person was radiant, like a visiting god. The expression on the corpse demon's face suddenly became completely desperate, and he roared angrily. The skin on his body and face suddenly shattered, revealing another strong body and face, and colorful lights began to emit from his whole body. Ji gently pointed towards the corpse demon. The monstrous black water swept over and engulfed the corpse demon. The corpse demon was like an insignificant bit of duckweed in the black water. Under the huge waves, it disappeared in the blink of an eye, leaving nothing behind, not even a trace of scum. The black water faded and the space disappeared. Xiaopinggan blinked and found that he was still standing in front of the old men lying in the sun. Ji was still standing next to him, and the shocked look was still on those old men. On his face, time seemed to pass by only half a second, but the corpse demon on the recliner among the old men disappeared like a bubble. The Judgment Army is handling the case, don't panic, Lin Yi said softly with a calm face, then pulled Xiaopinggan, submerged into the soil again, and disappeared in front of the old men. The corpse demon that turned Shangjing City upside down last night is just gone. Chapter 2 later today. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 308. Xiaopinggan has been in the shocking scene just now. In front of Ji, the corpse demon didn't even have the ability to resist and was annihilated. Also, what's going on with that weird space, and that gone hexagram in the space? Wasn't it always rumored that the leader of the Judgment Army, Ji, was only in the 6 Yang realm? The 6 Yang realm was that strong. In Xiaopinggan's feeling, Ji seemed to be much stronger than the Iron Masked Man. Xiaopinggan was in a daze for a moment. Ji had already led him out of the underground and came to a strange place. This is not Qinggui town, nor Donggang district, but the square outside the Church of the Dark God of War in Shangjing City. Dark crowds lined up in front to enter the Church of the Dark God of War. The golden dome of the church shone in the morning Sunday outside the church. The thick granite steps were filled with people lining up to enter. Church crowd. Dang, dang, dang. The melodious bells rang on the bell tower of the church, echoing melodiously. The pigeons on the bell tower flew up one by one. At the door of the church, 2 priests in black could be seen. Those who enter the church are sprinkled with holy water to ward off disasters and pray for blessings. The big changes that took place in Shangjing City last night made the atmosphere in Shangjing City completely different today. A large number of people entered the church to pray for blessings. Because everyone was lowering their heads and lining up devoutly to enter the church, no one noticed that 2 more people suddenly appeared in the square outside the church. There are many such churches in Shangjing City. The statues of the Dark God of War are enshrined in the churches. They are places of prayer and repentance for the people of the Great Shang Kingdom. Xiaopinggan had always felt that the holy temple of the Dark God of War was just a brainwashing tool for the upper class to rule the lower classes of the Dark God of War. Therefore, although his status was not low in the Dark God of War, he was a place where ordinary people would come. I have never been here, let alone entered. Xiaopinggan didn't understand why Ji brought him here. Can you summon Xuanhuan boy? Lin Yi suddenly turned his head and asked Xiaopinggan a question. Xiaopinggan found that Ji looked at him with sharp eyes at this moment. This question is very abrupt and crucial. One question can explain many things. No, Xiaopinggan shook his head calmly. Of course he couldn't. What he summoned was the God of Fortune boy, not the Xuanhuan boy. The abilities of the two were different. Xiaopinggan told the truth. Ji looked at Xiaopinggan's sharp eyes, and suddenly softened and became profound. I'm very happy. What you just told was the truth and you didn't hide it? I just asked the question using a secret method. If you said it's a lie, I can feel it. It's not very peaceful in the capital these days. You are also the target of the blood demon cult. Please pay more attention. Thank you for your concern, sir. Remember, everyone has their own secrets and pursuits, especially summoners, but summoners who join the Judgment Army have a bottom line that cannot be touched. Some things cannot be blasphemed. Do you understand? I see. That's good. As soon as he finished speaking these 3 words, Ji disappeared from Xiaopinggan's eyes, leaving Xiaopinggan standing alone in the square. What does it mean? Xiaopinggan touched his head, looked at the road outside the square, then opened his legs and walked towards the roadside. Commander Lin was acting a little strange today. Just now, Lin Yi killed the corpse demon. In fact, he didn't need to bring him here because he had already told what he knew and couldn't help much anymore. His only purpose in bringing him here was, just to let myself see how he killed the corpse demon. Also, the question he asked himself whether he could summon Xuanhuan boy was also very meaningful. That last sentence is already an obvious hint. Taken together, this was a warning, to himself today. Ji Yi is a little worried about himself. Why worry? It is estimated that his strength has grown too fast and he is closely related to some mysterious figures, so Commander Lin took the opportunity to remind himself. After thinking about this, Xiaopinggan smiled. There are some things that cannot be explained. If you misunderstand, just misunderstand. If it can make Ji Yi misunderstand, it may not be bad for him. Xiaopinggan came to the roadside and was about to call a taxi to return to the inspection office, but a black luxury carriage came quietly and stopped next to Xiaopinggan. The carriage door opened, and Xiaopinggan saw Baitang Wang. Xuan sat in the car. Oh, no wonder Ji Yi brought his here. Xiaopinggan smiled lightly and got in the car directly. The carriage started moving on the road. Thanks to you for what happened between the water demon and the poison demon before, and what happened last night, Baitang Wang Xuan said to Xiaopinggan on the carriage. Baitang Wang Xuan did not introduce his identity. There are some things that do not need to be said among smart people. Baitang Wang Xuan believed that although he had only met Xiaopinggan once, with Xiaopinggan's IQ and ability, at this point, if you still don't understand who he is, it's simply impossible. Your Highness, there is no need to be polite, I just did my duty. Baitang Wang Xuan shook his head. Your responsibilities are a timely help to me, and you have helped a lot. Without your help, I am afraid I will be roasted on the fire at this moment. Originally, I was just a few days ago. I want to come see you, but there are so many things going on around me that I can't get away, so I've been delayed until now. If the whereabouts of the corpse demon and dream demon could be known in advance, last night's tragedy would not have happened. Xiaopinggan shook his head sadly. There is no need to be too harsh. No one in this world can completely control everything. When manpower is exhausted, even gods will be unable to do anything. Baitang Wang Xuan always had a somewhat indifferent expression on his face. By the way, I heard that you are looking for world beads recently, and these are some world beads I have collected, so I will give them to you to express my gratitude. Baitang Wang Xuan said, and with a movement of his hand, he took out a brocade box more than 2 feet long and handed it to Xiaopinggan. If Baitang Wang Xuan gave Xiaopinggan something else, Xiaopinggan would still refuse, but what he gave to Xiaopinggan was the boundary pearl, which Xiaopinggan would never refuse. Xiaopinggan opened the box and saw more than 20 world beads in the box. More than half of the world beads were paired with divine mind crystals. Looking closely at the words in those world beads, Xiaopinggan was slightly shocked. These world beads, the beads are all world beads related to dream fortune tellers. More than 20 world beads were filled with brilliance. As soon as the box was opened, the carriage was filled with light and was extremely gorgeous. Seeing the surprised look on Xiaopinggan's face, Baitang Wang Xuan smiled slightly. That's all the Dream Master world beads add up. Some of them have spiritual crystals, and some fusions can only be done by luck. Since ancient times, not many people know how to fuse, and those who can fuse are just lucky, but fortunately, these Dream Master world pearls will not be brain exploding and fatal even if the fusion fails, so you can rest assured to fuse. Even with Baitang Wang Xuan's identity, it would probably be a waste of effort to collect all these world beads and spiritual crystals at once. This gift is full of heart. After integrating these world beads, advancing to the 5 Yang realm is just around the corner. Xiaopinggan was a little excited. Baitang Wang Chuan was a timely help. It was quite interesting. Thank you, Your Highness. I like Your Highness's gift very much. Xiaopinggan put away the boundary beads in the box and solemnly thanked Baitang Wang Chuan directly. Ha 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 ha. Baitang Wang Chuan laughed, as long as you like it, I won't help my people suffer. Xiaopinggan nodded, don't worry, Your Highness, I won't let the people who help me suffer. The two looked at each other and each understood what the other meant. You have made a lot of achievements these days, and they are all great achievements. When your strength further improves, your position can actually be further improved, Baitang Wang Chuan said softly. Thank you, Your Highness. Xiaopinggan did not show too much excitement, but said modestly, I just saw Commander Lin show his strength today, and I realized that my strength is not worth mentioning here in the capital. I am now being able to serve as the inspector of Donggang is already very satisfying. You mean GG? Baitang Wang Chuan nodded slightly. Commander Lin is a favored person in the Dark War God section. He once received a teaching from the God of War while meditating in the temple. His cultivation level cannot be measured by common sense. Others, the 6 Yang realm is eager to advance to the 7 Yang realm immediately, but Commander Lin deliberately stayed in the 6 Yang realm for 20 years to suppress his own realm. A few days ago, he finally stopped suppressing his own realm and just advanced to the 7 Yang realm. He has already mastered the powerful domain abilities that only the 8 Yang realm can fully master. Not to mention the general summoners of the 7 Yang realm, even some summoners of the 8 Yang realm may not be the opponents of Commander Lin. You use him as a reference to give yourself the pressure is too much. Commander Lin was once initiated by the God of War in the Holy Church. Xiaopinggan was also surprised. He did not expect Lin Yi to have such an experience. From this point of view, the so-called Holy Church is not just for the lower class. It's so easy to brainwash ordinary people. Yes, so he serves as the commander of the Judgment Army, and no one objects to it. Which church did Commander Lin receive divine favor from? Baitang Wang Chuan pointed to the church outside the window where Xiaopinggan had just left. At the same time, the doorbell of Li's bookstore rang. As the owner of the bookstore, Dark Demon turned to look at the door and saw an old woman carrying a flower basket walking into the bookstore. As soon as the old woman walked into the flower shop, the street where the sunshine and the sycamore trees could be seen outside the bookstore suddenly turned dark. It was like entering the dark night. The sunshine, the street, and the sycamore trees all disappeared, and the light was gone. All the shadows are gone. The Dark Demon's expression changed instantly. He slowly took 2 steps back, and his entire figure disappeared in an instant. Why bother? Why bother? The mother-in-law who was carrying the flower basket sighed and stood guard at the door. No one could be seen in the bookstore, and the books on the entire bookstore shelves trembled, like an earthquake. Streams of blood, minced meat, and even fragments of internal organs spurted out from the trembling books. The book begins to bleed. In just a moment, the entire bookstore was like a pool of blood, and every book turned blood-stained red. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 309. The cause of the explosion at the ammunition factory has been initially identified. It was a security guard guarding the ammunition depot and 2 workers who cooperated to deliberately set the fire and detonate it. The 3 people's usual behavior was normal, and there was nothing wrong with their work in the factory. One of them just became a father last month, but last night they suddenly seemed to have made an appointment, working together to detonate the ammunition depot in a very professional way, and they themselves were shattered into pieces, leaving nothing behind. The carriage was about to arrive at the Donggang inspection office. The 2 people in the carriage were chatting, and unknowingly they talked about the explosion in the ammunition depot last night. Baitang Wangchuan's words surprised Xiaopingan, because Xiaopingan had obtained, according to the source of the news, the ammunition factory was obviously done by Dream Demon, but why did Baitang Wangchuan say that it was the workers of the ammunition factory who did it? Your Highness, weren't the people of the Blood Demon cult what happened at the ammunition factory? If the workers of the ammunition factory did this, it would be tantamount to committing suicide. It was those 3 people who took action. The result of the Judgment Army's investigation is that those 3 people may have been controlled by people from the Blood Demon cult using secret methods and unknowingly became puppets. Their families all live near the factory. This explosion, none of their family members were spared, and all of them were killed. As long as they had any sense of sanity, they would not do such a thing. Incubus. I suspect it's a dream demon, but because those 3 people are dead, I'm still not sure how the dream demon controlled those 3 people. Among the 5 demons of the Blood Demon sect, the dream demon is the most bizarre and unpredictable. You are the Blood Demon. The goal of the teaching is to be careful yourself. Ahem, by the way, Cao cannot leave the Imperial City these days, and she also asked me to send you a letter. Baitang Wangchuan said, and with a move of his hand, he took out a letter contained in a light green envelope. The envelope had Zhuangzi's handwriting on it, and it was also scented with incense. You can smell a strange fragrance when you pick it up, a little bit, the sweet scent of Cao. This girl, Cao, mistook the crown prince of the Great Shang Kingdom as a messenger, and she didn't know how Baitang Wangchuan felt when she received this letter. Xiaopingan was a little embarrassed, while Baitang Wangchuan was serious, with no unnecessary expression on his face. A few minutes later, Baitang Wangchuan's carriage stopped at the door of the Donggang District Supervision Office. Xiaopingan got off the carriage, and the carriage left. The atmosphere on the streets of Shangjing City was very tense today. The streets were full of patrolling police and garrison soldiers. Along the way, almost all the hospitals I saw along the way were filled with injured people who had been sent there last night. The blood donation queue outside the hospital stretched for several hundred meters, and ambulance carriages on the street were going from the injured area to the city one after another. Various hospitals transported the wounded. There are actually not many injured people in Qinggui town, because in the zombie transformation, the so-called injury is equivalent to infection, which is almost the same as death. But the explosion at the Shangjing ammunition factory last night brought tens of thousands of casualties to Shangjing. With so many wounded people appearing, the hospitals in the capital suddenly began to be overcrowded. Pedestrians hurriedly walked on the street, and there was an air of nervousness unconsciously. "Sir, you are back." Luo Laojiu, as always, walked out of the concierge upon seeing Xiaopingan's return and saluted Xiaopingan. "Well." Xiaopingan nodded and walked towards the building of the inspectorate. Then, before taking a few steps, Xiaopingan heard a dog barking, and then a chained black figure suddenly jumped out from the grass next to it and rushed in front of Xiaopingan. The dog owned by Lao Huang bared its teeth at the little black pig, trying to pounce on it. Xiaopingan looked down and smiled. It was the little black pig that rushed in front of him and knelt down on his knees. The kneeling posture of pigs is different from that of humans. The little black pig's front hooves are bent and kneeling on the ground. The 2 legs behind it are standing, and the buttocks are raised high. It looks a bit funny. If the pig's back, the 2 legs of the pig also kneel down, and you feel that the pig is lying on the ground as usual, but not kneeling. The little black pig couldn't raise or lower its head completely. It could only kneel and nod to Xiaopingan, that was kowtow. In the past few days, Xiaopingan completely handed over this little black pig to Luo Laojiu, letting Luo Laojiu's dogs watch it, eat dog food, live next to the doghouse, and was bitten and bullied by dogs from time to time. In just a few days, you can see many scars on this little black pig's body caused by dog bites and scratches. It has also lost a lot of weight, and several pig ribs are exposed. The whole pig is completely haggard. Seeing that the little black pig actually knelt down towards Xiaopinggan, Luo Laojiao showed his yellow teeth and walked over with a smile. "Sir, this little black pig is quite smart. He knows how to understand. After raising it for 2 days I'm trying to please my dog, but he doesn't dare to eat until he's finished eating. I'm thinking that if I keep him for a few more months, when he's fatter, I can kill him and cook a pot of braised pork, and I can also stew the pork belly and pig trotters. Drinking wine in one pot." When Luo Laojiao said he wanted to cook braised pork, the little black pig trembled all over and kowtowed faster. This pig is quite clever. It would be a pity to kill it and eat it. Xiaopinggan smiled and looked at the little black pig that was just kowtowing. He knew that this little black pig had really knelt down. What kind of dignity of a killer! What kind of stubbornness, what kind of personality, after being raised as a pig for a few days, can be trampled to pieces by a dog and a guard. Luo Laojiao. "Sir, you like its cleverness. Why don't I find some sows to give it some seeds to play with?" Luo Laojiao was trying to flatter Xiaopinggan, and he had no idea what little black pig was listening to his words. The pig's ears made the little black pig tremble deeply, and its eyes widened in horror. "Is it troublesome to breed this pig?" "It's not troublesome. Give it some medicine and find a veterinarian who specializes in breeding pigs." "That's fine. If adults don't like it, if it's too noisy, you can gel it. This pig will stop being noisy after it's gelded. I used to, this is what I do. I still have the knife, I can do it in just a cup of tea." Luo Laojiao aimed his eyes at the key part behind the pig's butt, eager to try. The little black pig's tail was clamped tightly. "I'll keep it for a few days. If I want to groom it, I'll find you again." Xiaopinggan smiled, took the chain from the little black pig, and walked towards the building with the little black pig that was unsteady on the road. Seeing Xiaopinggan leading the little black pig into the building, everyone else in the building was not surprised and stepped aside to make way for Xiaopinggan to say hello. Xiaopinggan took the pig directly to his office. The man in the iron mask is at the inspection office at the moment. This morning, after several strong men from the Judgment Army came to Qinggui Town, the man in the iron mask did not want to meet those strong men from the Judgment Army, so he left Qinggui Town directly and returned to Qinggui Town. "Inspectorate, the man in the iron mask is sleeping and resting in his room at the moment." The little black pig came to Xiaopinggan's office, still kneeling on the ground, motionless. Wei Miao brought Xiaopinggan a cup of tea as usual, and then went out with the door closed. Xiaopinggan took out a jade pen and touched it. A little golden light emitted from the pen and penetrated into the forehead of the little black pig. The body of the little black pig began to slowly change, and in the blink of an eye it returned to the appearance of the assassin. The assassin was covered in scars and kneeling on the ground, huddled in a ball, not daring to raise his head. Although he has returned to his human form, the secret seal of the sealing technique is still in his body, penetrating deep into his flesh and blood genes, imprisoning his secret mandala and divine power. "What's your name?" Xiaopinggan asked calmly. "Sir, my name is Yan 11, the assassin's voice was hoarse and his whole body was trembling. At this moment, the assassin finally realized what it means to be human and how blessed it is to be able to become a human being and be able to speak. "Can you write?" "Yes," Yan 11 replied. "Okay, Yan 11, come here and write a confession. Tell me how the Sun family hired you to kill me, what compensation they gave you, who in the Sun family contacted you, and what you did in Shangjing. Explain the 5 to 10 clearly, and then press your fingerprints." Xiaopinggan took out a pen and paper, put it on the table, and asked Yan 11 to come over and write the confession. With this assassin's confession, Xiaopinggan only needs to give the confession to the Judgment Army, and the Judgment Army will naturally investigate. This confession can send the Sun family into hell without him taking any further action. Hiring a killer to sneak into the capital to assassinate the inspector of the Judgment Army is a taboo. If the Judgment Army doesn't give him an explanation, then Lin Yi can retire. Looking at Yan 11 who was writing a confession honestly, Xiaopinggan found that this sealing technique was really useful. Golden Summoner. Author, Zy Hu. Chapter 310. Yan 11 quickly wrote the confession and put his fingerprints on it. The confession was eloquently written on 2 large pieces of paper. It explained everything clearly, including where the Sun family found him, the people who contacted him, the reward given to him, how he contacted the Sun family after arriving in the capital, and how he got it after he succeeded. Take the remaining remuneration, everything is clearly explained, and no trace is left out. As a top assassin, Yan 11's handwriting is actually very good. Xiaopinggan read the confession, nodded with satisfaction, took out the jade pen and touched it. Yan 11, who had just finished writing the confession, changed again and slowly turned into a little black pig. For Yan 11's honest explanation of the problem, Xiaopinggan also gave Yan 11 some preferential treatment and took off the chain from Yan 11's neck, allowing him to regain his freedom of movement. The little black pig who regained his freedom was so well behaved that he ran to a corner of the office and stayed there. He didn't say anything, didn't move around, didn't run around, and tried to reduce his presence as much as possible. In the end, only one of the 5 demons was left, and the Sun family's affairs could come to an end today. Xiaopinggan let out a long breath, picked up the teacup Wei Mia poured, and was about to take a sip. A figure flashed in front of Xiaopinggan's eyes, and the god of fortune child suddenly appeared and kicked the teacup out of his hand. All the tea leaves and water in the teacup suddenly fell on the floor of the office, making a clanging sound. Xiaopinggan was startled. Who? Almost as soon as the teacup fell to the ground, the figure of the iron-masked man suddenly appeared in Xiaopinggan's office, his eyes flashing as he scanned the situation in the office. In the eyes of the iron-masked man, there was nothing unusual in this office except for Xiaopinggan and the water glass that suddenly spilled on the ground. Well, I'm sorry, my hand suddenly slipped and the cup fell. Xiaopinggan was very satisfied with the reaction of the man in the iron mask. This is the quality that a bodyguard in the Seven Suns realm should have. The man in the iron mask didn't even notice that there was an extra lucky boy in Xiaopinggan's office. Seeing that Xiaopinggan didn't seem to have encountered any accident, the man in the iron mask breathed a sigh of relief. The Dark Demon's bookstore has been sealed and closed. The bookstore ended up looking like a bloody slaughterhouse. The lucky boy who had been following the Dark Demon before found something after the Dark Demon was eliminated by the shadow guards and wandered around outside. After that, he finally returned to his master. Xiaopinggan thought that the lucky boy accidentally knocked over his teacup when he came back, but the lucky boy stood on the table in front of Xiaopinggan, pointed to the tea on the ground, and made a gesture of drinking tea. Then he grabbed his neck, rolled his eyes, and fell straight on the desk. It quickly turns black and stiff, but then jumps up again in the blink of an eye, and the body returns to normal, alive and kicking. The performance of the god of fortune boy wearing a belly band was so cute, so naive and cute, but after seeing the performance of the god of fortune boy, Xiaopinggan's expression suddenly changed. The tea is poisonous, Xiaopinggan said to himself. The god of fortune boy nodded fiercely, made a face at Xiaopinggan, jumped on Xiaopinggan's shoulder, and began to playfully pull Xiaopinggan's ears and hair and swing them around, having a great time. What did you say? The iron-masked man was also stunned for a moment, thinking that Xiaopinggan was talking to him, and then looked at the tea on the ground. The tea spilled on the ground has a normal color and does not have any strange reactions. It is not like those strange poisons. It is fine when it is placed in the cup, but smokes as soon as it falls to the ground. I am afraid that others will not know that it is a drama. Like poison. Xiaopinggan didn't speak. He just took out a small piece of dried fish from his spatial warehouse, then held it with chopsticks, carefully came to the tea spilled on the ground, dipped the dried fish into the tea on the ground, and then go to the window of the office, open the window, Take out a few pieces of the same dried fish and a small plate from the space warehouse, put all the dried fish in the small plate, and then put the small plate outside on the window sill, close the window and wait patiently. The dried fish had a bit of a fishy smell and was placed in the window. Within a short time, in less than 2 minutes, several flies flying outside were attracted to it. Yes, there are also flies in Shangjing, especially in summer, there are a lot of flies. The flies will be attracted by the smell of dried fish, fly to the window sill, and land on the dried fish on the plate. 2 flies landed on the piece of dried fish dipped in tea. Just a few seconds later, the 2 flies fell down. The flies' bodies suddenly stiffened, turned black, decomposed, and turned into fine black sand, which was scattered on the plate bit by bit. When the wind blew, it was gone. A few more flies landed on the piece of dried fish, but the fate was the same. In the blink of an eye, they turned into fine black sand and dispersed in the wind. The poison of black evil, the iron-masked man inside the window took a breath of air. Do you know this poison? Xiaopingan looked at the man in the iron mask. The voice of the man in the iron mask was extremely solemn. This is one of the most terrifying poisons and strange poisons. It is colorless and odorless and almost difficult to detect. But as soon as it touches someone and is eaten by someone, the person's health will be reduced in just a few breaths over time, the body will become stiff, and then turn into fine black sand, which cannot be saved even by gods. Even a strong person in the 8 Yang realm will only die if he is poisoned. Xiaopingan broke into a cold sweat after hearing this. He almost drank the tea just now. If the god of fortune had not appeared in time, he would have turned into a pile of black sand at this moment. Unknowingly, I was going back and forth in the gate of hell. Is this poison very precious? Let's put it this way, even if you give me money, I may not be able to buy it. Everyone is afraid of this thing, even the auction house has it, the man in the iron mask answered directly. Damn it, where did this poison come from? Is there something wrong with the water in the inspection office, something wrong with the tea, or, there's something wrong with the people? After wandering around Xiaopingan's body for a few times, the lucky boy disappeared from Xiaopingan's body in the next second. He jumped to the ground, circled around the spilled tea, and then appeared outside in an instant. In the secretary room, he jumped to Wei Miu's side and pointed to a lady's handbag that Wei Miu placed next to the chair. That handbag was what Wei Miu usually brought with her when she went to work. The man in the iron mask was staring at Xiaopingan, waiting for Xiaopingan to make a decision, but he never discovered what the god of fortune had done. Xiaopingan's eyes flickered. The next second, he took away the dried fish outside the window sill, condensed the poisonous tea on the ground into ice, and put it all into the space equipment in a container without leaking. Then he walked to the door of the office, opened the door, and came to the secretary's room outside. Wei Miu was immersed in sorting out some documents. When she saw Xiaopingan walking out of the office and coming to her, Wei Miu stood up quickly, her hands hanging under her belly. Sir, what's the matter? You can just call me. Xiaopingan smiled and said, are you still used to this job recently? Upon hearing Xiaopingan's question, Wei Miu suddenly became nervous, and the 2 hands placed in front of her lower abdomen were twisted together. Sir, is there something I didn't do well? You tell me, I can change it. Xiaopingan's eyes were fixed on Wei Miu's face, looking into Wei Miu's eyes. There was no look on Wei Miu's face or eyes that could escape his gaze. In Wei Miu's eyes, what Xiaopingan saw was still the same as before. She was pure and young, but also a little worried and uneasy, but that uneasiness only came from the pressure that she had just said. It's nothing, you did a good job. Xiaopingan smiled and comforted. By the way, go to the archives and help me find the cases in Donggang district where ordinary people were controlled by suspected summoner secrets in the past 5 years. I want to see the information on the murder case that became the puppet. Okay, sir, please wait a moment. There are a lot of case materials in the archives. I will sort them out and bring them to you." The relaxed smile reappeared on Wei Miu's face, and then Wei Miu left the secretary room and went to the archives. As soon as Wei Miu left, Xiaopinggan summoned a craftsman and asked the craftsman to gently open the handbag Wei Miu placed next to her seat. Just a moment later, the summoned craftsman discovered a strange thumb-sized thing in Wei Miu's handbag. The small black porcelain bottle, and then placed the small black porcelain bottle on the table in front of her. Xiaopinggan waved his hand, and the summoned craftsman flashed with light and was taken back into the secret mandala. One wall in the secretary room is decorated with stripes made of brown metal sheets. Those metal sheets are like a mirror. The next second, Xiaopinggan took out a jade pen, and under the gaze of the man in iron mask, he wrote a divine inscription with the word hen on it, and landed it on the wall. The brown metal striped decoration on the wall began to glow, and then, like a movie playing in the mirror, it began to recall everything that had happened in the secretary room before. This morning, Wei Miu was still the first to come to work and arrived at the inspection office very early. When she came to the secretary's room, she started tidying up and cleaning diligently. Everything seemed normal. And just when she was about to sort out a document, her body trembled slightly, her eyes began to become dull, and the rhythm of her movements changed. She put down the document and took out Xiaopinggan's teacup from the cabinet. Then opened his handbag, took out the small black porcelain bottle in the bag, poured the 2 drops of transparent liquid in the porcelain bottle into Xiaopinggan's cup, and then put the cup in which Xiaopinggan drank tea back to the original place, back to his own position. After doing all this, Wei Miu's body trembled slightly and suddenly returned to normal. She gently rubbed her forehead and continued to organize things as if nothing had happened. Until Xiaopinggan came back, Wei Miu used to use Xiaopinggan's teacup in the cabinet to make a cup of hot tea for Xiaopinggan and bring it in. It seems that she unknowingly became someone else's puppet and was controlled by someone else. Moreover, the person who poisoned you has figured out your habits in the inspection office, so there is such a targeted arrangement. It is really scary. The man in the iron mask looked on and said softly. Targeting one's own habits and poisoning people through trusted people around them, the whole process is calm and smooth, without any surprises. Such a method makes it difficult for people to guard against it. Xiaopinggan was a little timid. Dream demon. These 2 words suddenly appeared in Xiaopinggan's mind.